Hi, guys.
What's up, Jenny? How you doing?
I'm good. Let me do...
Pretty.
Oh, God. I have so many fucking circle lights in front of my computer right now. It looks like aliens are landing. There's one there. I need all the help I can get at this point. Joining me on the show is Jana Kramer, Mike Caussin. They've got an amazing book that I want you guys all to go buy. It's called The Good Fight: Wanting to Leave, Choosing to Stay, and the Powerful Practice for Loving Faithfully. And the book is available right now. Boy, I know I can literally probably buy this book right now for 100 people I know. How long have you guys been married?
So we've been married for a little over 5 years. And you might think that, you're like, okay, how can you write a book within, 5 years? Because it should be like the happiest times. But for us, it's been just, it's been really tough. And we've gone through a lot of stuff in our short marriage, but we've done more therapy than I feel like a couple that's done in 20 years.
Yeah, we're the mileage of like a 15-year plus marriage already after 5. So.
I mean, good for you guys, though, because we need more examples of this, because it's so easy to clock out and be like, I'm out of here, but to hang in there and do the work. Because what I've learned in my horrific past relationships, that if I don't heal whatever is going on, even take accountability for shit that I don't even think I was accountable for, that I will repeat that in the next relationship and the next relationship. So you have to hunker down and get real and heal those core issues and those traumas. Now, for those listening right now that don't necessarily know your story, let's start kind of in the beginning. Where did you guys meet?
Go ahead.
Classic love story. We met on social media. We met on Twitter, and couple, favorites, couple retweets and DMs later, we met in person, and pretty much the rest is history. That's the fast track.
That was the fast track to came to one of my shows. I was playing in Chicago, and, I'm kind of like, all right, I'm 30 years old. This is what I want. I want a baby. I want to get married. Are you on board or are you not? And so I was like,
okay. Guess so. Let's do this.
And so how long were you guys together before your first baby?
We made pretty much every major life change within 12 months. So we, met each other, moved in together, bought a house together, got engaged, got married, and got pregnant within the first 11, 12 months of even knowing each other.
Wow. Now, looking back in hindsight, one can say, I wouldn't change a thing, because it brought us to this next level, this deeper level of love and understanding and compassion and forgiveness. But for those that might be learning from listening to your story, where do you think that you guys could have done better initially starting off, whether that's waiting a little longer, slowing the train down, anything? I'm not going to speak for you. What do you guys think?
Oh, man. And you took our legs from under us when saying, we wouldn't change anything now. But thinking about it, yeah, we could have taken our time, but really it's over communicating. We wish we would have communicated or known how to communicate earlier on.
I mean, personally, I feel like we did. We didn't know about a lot of stuff going on with the stuff that you were dealing with. So I don't know if we would have found that out then. But I feel like it's one of those things where, I had done so much therapy because I had some bad relationships and abusive relationships. So I did a lot of therapy. And so when I met him, I'm like, this is who I am. You either like my past or you don't. And I'm sorry. I'm not going to apologize for it anymore. These are the things that I've done wrong. These are the things that I want to do better. And so I feel like I put it all kind of out there. And yeah, we could have gone maybe slower in the beginning, but at the same time, I was like, I knew what I wanted. And
right. You're like, give me the dream. I'm ready.
But we took,
ultimately, we really wouldn't have changed much, because we wouldn't be, like you said, Jenny, we wouldn't be where we are today if it wasn't for the path that we've taken.
Mm-hmm. So true. Now, the book again is called The Good Fight: Wanting to Leave, Choosing to Stay, and the Powerful Practice for Loving Faithfully. The book is available right now. They're also doing a virtual book tour. You guys can check out Jana's Instagram for those dates. And when we say The Good Fight, what was the thing? And I know people can read the book for more information, but I want to peel that onion a little bit. What was the thing that almost ended it?
Man, that's a laundry list right there.
The main, underlying was the affairs.
Yeah, but I mean, there's a lot of things within that. The affairs, me figuring out that I was suffering from sex addiction, and then, also trying to rid myself of character defects of lying and living in secrecy.
Yeah, it was it was definitely a journey, but it was one of those things where, I feel like we were able to fortunately find out sooner than later. That way we can, it's only, yes, it was 4 years of our marriage, or, a year of our marriage, but we're able to grow in such a young age and not be like, oh, the last 10 years were all a lie. It was like, okay, the first year was a disaster and it was a complete lie. And it was real for me. It wasn't, he was going through his things, but how can we make this work and, be there for, our kid at the time and have a healthy relationship. But it took a lot of therapy.
I bet. And would you guys say, because I've done a shit ton of therapy myself, that one of the key ingredients to continuing on as a couple is you both have to truly want it, not just for the kids, not just to save money, but you guys truly want to stay together. Isn't that key?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, every time people would ask us, like, how did you know, Jana, that you wanted to stay? Or even for me, how did I know that I wanted to stay? And it was a daily, temperature gauge for us. It was making, as long as we were both putting in the work, consistently, then we were like, okay, here we are showing up today. We're showing up. Let's keep going. So it was a snowball effect, but we had to work at it every day.
Yeah. And I mean, I had to stop shaming him and yelling at him. And like, I had to look inside and be like, okay, if this isn't healthy for him either, this isn't fair for him either. So I either need to forgive him and do my work on how to deal with the triggers and the trauma of all of it, or I have to, like, that's just not fair. Like, I would never, like, that's not fair for him to stay if I'm screaming at him constantly. So eventually I had to do my work to learn how to not lose my mind every time I freaked out or I was scared or I didn't trust him. And that took a while.
That's really good. And that's really hard, Jana, because, I know so many people that have been in your guys' shoes, and to also, besides the shaming part just to get past, but also the insecure part. Like, I've been in those shoes before going like, am I not good enough? How do you get back above water to where you're like, I'm great. If he can't see that, it's his issue. I should not beat myself up because it has nothing to do with me.
Yeah, that took 4 years to figure out. It was within this past year that I finally, my therapist, we actually just had a session the other day, and she's like, when you came here a year ago, you still believed that it was your fault, that you're not good enough, and that you could have maybe changed something with y'all's past. And she's like, do you still believe that same thing today? And I mean, for like the last 4 years, I was wearing the biggest push-up bras ever and trying to push it up. And I'm like, is this sexy? Yes. Is this what you want? And I have the smallest bees in the world, so I'm like, jacking these little bees up. And I'm like, do you love me now? Is this, and he's like, it has nothing to do with you. And I didn't understand that until I really did the work on myself and learned more about addiction. And so now I can finally say, like, I know it wasn't my fault. It's not mine to carry. And I am good enough. And I don't have to put on, these kind of outfits or dress a certain way or be a certain way to be loved and for him to love me back.
Well said. Well said, because I know so many people that are going through that right now. And Mike, I know you can't speak on behalf of every person that has, done this before, but can you speak to all the women that are listening and let them hear that from you? Like, it's not really necessarily their partner's fault. It's not an image thing. There's something inside that you're looking externally to get a fix from. Can you better explain that?
Yeah, absolutely. And first I want to empathize. I understand why. I mean, infidelity and anything like that, like, how could someone not take that personal, right? That's the most personal almost attack on somebody that you could possibly do in a relationship. So, for me, trying to allow Jana to understand that it wasn't about her was me doing the work on myself and figuring out what was going on internally for me. So, for any women out there that are dealing with that in their relationship, it's up to the man to dive in and to do that work in order to best explain to his significant other, be like, hey, this is coming from a place I never even knew. I never even realized that this was how I kind of, suppressed these emotions and took them elsewhere. Because for me, that's what it was all about. I never learned how to healthily express my emotions in a healthy way. So I took it out elsewhere.
That bottling up. So when you guys got into fights in the past, was one like the shut down person and the other one following the other person from room to room, wanting to resolve it? What did those fights look like and how have they changed?
Yeah, I was definitely the shutdown, and Jana wanted to hash it out right then and there.
There's always one. There's always one.
Yeah, but it took balance. It took, us being able to take that pause, but also at the same time, me not just shutting it down by shutting her down. There's a difference there. There's a difference between, shutting her down, saying, I'm not talking about it, or, hey, I need a few minutes, or I need 30 minutes, I need an hour, I'll be back, and let's do this again. So it took a lot of time for us to kind of find that dance, back and forth with how to handle conflict. And we're finally this year, as bad of a year as 2020 has been, this has been the most consistent we've been in our conflicts.
I feel like because we were stuck in a home together, we had to.
We had
to do the tools that we've learned from our therapists. And honestly, like for me, even with this book, it's like it's fighting for each other, but it's also fighting for yourself. Like now, and sometimes that's bad because I'm such a fighter now. I'm like, I will stand up for myself. I know I'm good enough. Like, no. Like,
yes.
Almost to the point where I'm like, I should probably, like, I need to like take a minute. And because usually when I take a minute and I walk away, he'll come back and be like, okay, you're right. I'm sorry. So I'm like, I just got to like give it some time.
I love that. The Good Fight, the book that's available. Are there tools that you guys learned? They're in the book. They're helping people. It's not just kind of the story. It's also, here's a tool that we used that worked.
Yeah. So we have, a talk from both of our perspectives. So we'll talk about some fights from my perspective, from his perspective, because I think it's important for women to maybe relate to their husband or their wives. And so we really wanted that aspect in there. And then we've put our favorite tools that we've learned in therapy in the book from our amazing therapists.
Yeah, we try to start each chapter off with some kind of conflict or altercation or fight that we've been in. And it was important for us, we wrote this book ourselves, just Jana and I in our office writing this book. And it was important for us to do it ourselves and not have a ghostwriter, because who else knows these stories better than ourselves? And to have our words in the manner that we talk, it was important to us. Like, we want people to hear that. We have our podcast, people hear how we talk. We want people to feel that same tone on the pages. So it was important to set the stage and then express the tools. It's not advice. It's just, we're sharing the things that have worked for us. We
do not do it perfectly.
Thousands of hours in rooms with people way smarter than us. And we're just sharing the information that they gave us.
Yeah.
But that's how we learn best a lot of the times. We learn through examples, I need that. I don't want to just be preached to and, told what to do constantly. That gets a little boring. What is one of those tools, and you're going to have to read the book to get all of them, but what is the one that you guys go, fuck yes, thank God we have this one?
So for us, it's a check-in, which, we do tonight because we missed it last night, but it's the check-ins where it's, you express, it's Thanos, but feelings. So what you're feeling. So whether it's you're stressed, angry, sad, frustrated, and then affirmations, what your partner did that day that you really appreciate. Like, hey, thank you for, letting me have a few minutes away from the kids because I really needed to like take a breath, or just anything that your partner did great. And then the needs is the next one, which is so huge because a lot of times I can be very passive. So and I also think that my husband can read my mind, and a lot of times he can't, or he never can. So I'm like, oh God, why couldn't he know that I needed this? But he doesn't know. So needs that night when you're in bed, you're like, hey, I really need, you just to show me some more love because I'm feeling maybe neglected, or just whatever you need. And then own is a big one. So, because I have a hard time owning my stuff as well at times. So I can be like, I'm sorry that I, was a little passive the other day, or I'm sorry about that. And then the S is for his addiction, sobriety. So, I usually just in that part I say like, I'm going to therapy next week or whatever. So,
I mean, isn't it hard sometimes? Like I find myself having to go like this. I'm sorry. It's so difficult sometimes.
Woman thing. We just have a hard time apologizing because we're mostly right. So when we are wrong, it's like,
Here, and this is one of our biggest points of contention, because I tell you, I'm not even an actor in a relationship, but when my sorries, I could get an Oscar for it. They're phenomenal. And then Jana says sorry, and she's like, hey, playa, like, I'm sorry. Let's keep going with that on our day. I'm just like,
why are you so upset?
She like gives me a slap on the ass as she walks by. Like, hey, no big deal. Get back in the game. Come on. Like, what just happened?
It reminds me of me too. I'll be like, hey, sorry. All right. What do you want to eat?
Yeah, exactly.
It's because we're not sorry, so it's very uncomfortable for us.
You guys are so cute. And I'm like, honestly, rooting for you. Like, we're all rooting for you. People that have known the story going like, all right, if they can do it, then I can do it. And I like that you said the biggest thing was about communication and also being smart enough to know that you need to heal some core traumas, some issues, or some old beliefs, or old, delivery systems, whatever they may be. You have to do that internal work separately and then together. Wouldn't you say?
Yeah. Well, I mean, we always say if we didn't and we end this, it would just be a different cast, same story. So
100% right.
Yeah.
I'm like, you better do it now. You better dig in now with the one you got, because you're going to have to it's going to be like a Xerox machine, just keep printing over and over and over again. You guys, thank you so much for talking with me and writing this book. You guys are going to help so many people. And I have a feeling there'll be the good fight. 1, 2, 3, 4. I hope so. Hopefully we'll get more. Yeah, you guys got a lot of years ahead of you. We're counting on you. So keep up the good writing. The book is called The Good Fight: Wanting to Leave, Choosing to Stay, and the Powerful Practice for Loving Faithfully. It's available now. Check out Jana's Instagram for their virtual book tour and their podcast if you guys want to hear more of them. Thank you guys so much. I hope you come back sometime. I'd love to chat about other things.
Yeah, thank you
so much.
I really appreciate it.
Of course. Much love. We'll be right back, guys.